There's something magnetic about a man who walks into a room like he already owns it, not with arrogance but with grounded presence. He doesn't need to prove anything. He just is. And for many younger women, that kind of energy becomes irresistible in ways they can't even explain. Welcome back to Stoic Edge. Today, we're breaking down why younger women are often drawn to older men, and no, it's not always about money or power. This isn't about age gap trends or superficial attraction. It's about emotional maturity, calm confidence, and the silent strength that speaks louder than words. If you're an older man wondering what makes you appealing, or if you're a woman trying to understand this, unexpected pull, this video will give you clarity, insight, and actionable strategies beyond surface-level dating advice. Let's get into it. At some point in her life, a woman reaches a threshold. She stops being impressed by loud displays of emotion. She gets tired of guessing games. She begins to value depth over drama, silence over noise, presence over performance. That's when older men begin to stand out, not because they try harder, but because they've learned how to show up without needing validation. Maturity isn't about age, it's about emotional control, self-direction, and knowing how to be grounded in chaos. Younger men often confuse attention with connection. Older men understand that real intimacy comes from stability. A mature man listens more than he speaks. He chooses his words carefully. He doesn't panic when things go quiet. He doesn't fill space just to feel heard. That kind of presence feels rare, and rarity creates value. When a woman sees that she doesn't have to manage your emotions, she relaxes. She starts leaning in because finally, she's met someone who doesn't need her to fix him. That's not just attractive. It's irresistible. Most young men date like it's a side hobby. They wing it, rely on spontaneity, and treat relationships like casual experiences. But for many emotionally aware women, spontaneity has worn thin. What moves them now? Intentionality. A thoughtful date isn't about grand gestures, it's about showing you paid attention. You don't take her somewhere expensive, you take her somewhere meaningful. Maybe it's a quiet walk where she can breathe, or a small gallery exhibit she mentioned months ago. These aren't flashy moves, they're quiet flexes. Because here's the truth, a well-planned date says more than any text chain ever could. It tells her, I thought about you. I considered what matters to you. I invested before I asked anything in return. That's not impressing. That's leading with care. And that's what separates the unforgettable from the forgettable. By the time a man hits his 30s or 40s, there's an unspoken expectation you know what you want. Women sense that and they respond to it. Many younger men are still figuring themselves out. Older men have lived long enough to understand what they're willing to build and what they won't tolerate. That clarity is deeply attractive, not because it guarantees marriage, but because it builds trust. If you're not looking for commitment, say so. Don't leave her guessing. Be honest early. Clarity filters in the right kind of connection. It prevents confusion. It avoids disappointment later. And if you are ready for something deeper, don't hide it. Say it clearly. Show it through consistency, not just words. Because younger women are learning, they want to be chosen. They want to feel valued, and they want to know where they stand. Be the man who gives them that. You don't dress to impress, you dress to reflect who you already are. Style isn't vanity, it's self-respect, and for many women, it's one of the first signs that a man understands himself. Jeans that fit, shoes that speak quality, a watch that silently signals reliability. These aren't fashion tips, they're psychological cues. When you dress well, you communicate, I respect myself. I respect the moment. I don't need attention, I command it. You don't have to follow trends. Just wear what suits you, who you are, where you're going, and what you represent. Because style isn't about chasing approval. It's about owning your space. And when a woman sees that, she doesn't wonder if you care. She assumes you already do. Some older men unintentionally scare women away, not because they mean to, but because they forget how intimidating silence can feel. You may think you're being reserved. She may interpret it as disinterest. That's where subtle warmth comes in. A genuine smile, eye contact that says I see you, open body language that invites connection. Approachability isn't about trying too hard, it's about signaling that you're present. You don't have to force conversation. You just have to let her know you're open to it. Because when a woman senses that you're not hiding behind ego or distance, she leans in. She feels safe. She feels seen. She feels respected. And that's where real connection begins. Emotional volatility turns people off. It's exhausting. It's immature. Once a woman has had enough of that, she starts craving the opposite of man. Who doesn't lose his center when things get complicated? That's where older men have the upper hand if they've done the work. You don't panic when she goes silent. You don't overreact to a delayed message. You don't turn small moments into big dramas. You stay grounded. You stay composed. And that composure becomes your signature. Because women don't just want passion. They want predictability. They want a man who handles pressure with calm, not chaos. That's not suppression. That's mastery, and mastery is deeply attractive. Real leadership in relationships doesn't come from dominance. It comes from direction. It's about knowing where you're going and inviting her to walk beside you, not dragging her forward. A controlling man demands compliance. A leading man inspires comfort. He suggests plans that honor both their needs. He sets boundaries without rigidity. He guides without grip. That's the difference between a boss and a captain. One commands fear. The other earns trust. And trust is what makes a relationship feel effortless, not forced. Because when a woman feels safe, she opens up, she softens. She lets go of tension. And that's where true intimacy is born. The draw younger women feel toward older men isn't random. It's rooted in something deeper, something they may not even realize they're seeking. Maturity, steadiness, presence, clarity, respect. These aren't traits you fake. They're built over time, through experience, through discipline. You don't need to act younger to attract someone different. You just need to show up as the man you've become. No pretense, no desperation. Just grounded, intentional living. And when you do that, you don't chase connection, it finds you. So if you've ever doubted your relevance in today's dating world, remember this. You don't need to play games, you just need to lead with calm. To speak with purpose, to live with intention. Because the right woman doesn't want a boy who tries too hard. She wants a man who knows exactly who he is. And if that sounds like you, then you're already ahead of the game.